But with that said, wasting no time whatsoever, it is going to be Misery piloting the Blight on the Suffo pit right off the bat, and they're wasting no time. Double speed add-ons going. This ace needs to get inside that. Oh no! Oh,
that was
no!
I would have screamed if I were that ace just now. That would have scared the heck out of me. Oh my gosh.
Well, the thing is, the ace probably knows the Blight's coming, but the problem is you don't want to tip the Blight off to where you are immediately. But the problem is, you slow vaulted and they caught you. They caught you with the pants down.
Yep, they surely did.
And not wanting to possibly mess up a bump logic, you're just going to wait for Bloodlust to kick in. And that will be an end to a very early corrupt. Early hook coming in for this Blight, and hopefully the survivors have spread out to the winds.
Well, you know what they say, when in doubt, lust it out, friend.
True, and I must say, despite the fact that Pride Month is over, that is a whole lot of flags I'm seeing. Respect.
I love it. You know, Pride Month may be over, but Pride Wrath is here.
Oh, is that what you mean by unadulterated violence in your youth?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I
no.
was the rebellious gay in my youth.
Oh,
Just
goodness.
absolutely terrorizing everybody.
So worth noting, that was a very early hook. This killer's not even leaving this area. They actually have an insanely good set of gens here. Not even bothering to leave. That's such an early hook. You can kind of afford just to camp this out and let them come in. Let them get an unhook. Let them get tunneled out of the game, because this is also, like, this is a dead zone. You unhook, Blight hits you immediately. You get maybe to a window, if you hope, maybe Lithe if you're lucky, bounce landing, and then the Blight follows it up with a beautiful rush and you're dead.
I have to say, there were some things I missed about DBD. Coming back to it, I did not miss playing against Blight. Sure did not, you know?
But Blight's so much fun.
It's the same. It's that fast-paced, coming out of nowhere. You don't even have time to think before you go down.
I mean, that's fair. Oh my goodness, the Claudette was here. But I say yes. Oh, but it's iframes. Ace gets a little bit of distance. Oh, Claudette gonna take a hit here. However, we do see scratch marks over here. Ace is gonna have to try and hide out. Oh!
And
there's a 4 other people as well from the Nancy.
Oh!
Great job. Second gen falling as well, but he does take a hit.
this is a bit of a scenario now at this point. You have a lot of people injured. You have someone who's broken and a killer that is faster than the speed of light.
Faster than the speed of light?
Faster than the speed of light! Oh my god, how did I not think of it, Rue?
There's the moon rush! Oh! So close. That was a good tech from our killer. Have you seen a Blight do that before, by the way?
I don't think I have, because I don't know what happened. But you're excited about it, so I'm excited for you.
It's a tech that really good Blights practice, and it's very difficult to pull off. Oh my goodness, that was so well played. Good mind games here from both sides. However, they do reset the Claudette. Obviously, Nancy not able to, and we'll have to see how many gens they finish in the meantime. There's the fake. There's the around the corner, but Bloodlust is going to be kicking here very shortly.
That was a good fake.
However, I think they get a hit over the pallet here. Yeah, that Bloodlust, no joke. That'll be
so funny
defo.
watching the A's looping. I have this feeling of maybe they don't know what they're doing. This looks so frenetic. I'm so scared for them. But clearly they do, because they drew out that chase much longer than I could have, and I panicked. So.
Fair. So I think this leads into a really interesting conversation regarding skill and how it's measured in Dead by Daylight. And obviously a very well-known content creator had a video on this recently, Ots. And it really rings true. Ooh, good pop goes the whistle there as well. Also brutal strength to boot. Nancy gets reset. Claudette over here being the one found, and let's see if they take chase or not. They do take chase. I will finish this thought later, as Claudette is going to be the center of my attention.
It's true. Like the Blight himself, this match is moving quick, Rue.
True.
We gotta keep on target. But I do want to hear about what you have to say about this. I want to know if I'm more talented than I think I am.
Enduring? This killer brought Enduring Brutal. What an absolute sociopath. I love it. I want to see more.
Nah, this is a Chad move right here.
True. They want nothing but the finest caviar of chases. Coming in. There's the reset on Claudette too.
Here's the thing about Blight. It's so calculated, right? You have to know, you have to say the survivor is probably going this way. So I need to hit this tree going in this direction so I can get the rebound and get the survivor. My brain doesn't work like that, and watching people who can play Blight like this, it is mind-boggling to me.
Ooh, good fake. That was such a good fake. That would have been a really, really rough hit for the Adam to take there, but they do get out. So that also kind of plays into what I was going to talk about with this game, with the way that people learn to play, and it's... There's another book, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it talks about the idea of thin slicing and muscle memory and reaction. And it's what, like, the pros of football do. The reason they run drills over and over again is you get to the point where you're not making conscious decisions, you reflexively do actions. And that's what these survivors who have... I have 4K, a little over 4K hours in this game. These survivors have double that, triple that. And so not only do they have this just overall game sense, they know what's going on, they have this thin slicing, reflexive muscle memory. When they see a killer do this twitch to the side, before their mind processes it, they're already doing an action to react to that and accordingly leave. That is why you see these survivors they're like frantic. What are they doing? Why are they greeting? It's because they know they have the time.
Yeah.
They know how to maximize these chases. They have put in the thousands and thousands of practice hours memorizing and learning reflexively what to properly do. And it's amazing to watch.
That's the thing, is it can look so frantic, and then they can keep chase going for an extra 30 seconds. And it is just, it's absolutely wild to see it happen. And I guess you're right, it looks like they don't know what they're doing, but it's because they're already doing it and they don't have to think about it.
Exactly. They have done it so many times over. Also, this is what I'm saying, like, any other group of survivors would have gone down over and over again. And again, the Blight's playing very methodically. They don't want this 3-gen to be broken. They have a good 3-gen. They're trying to keep tabs on it. But the survivors, they get hit, they run, they know where to die. They know what corner to hide in. They know where to go heal. They know where to reset. And if it comes down to a do or die situation, hey, we need 30 more seconds on this gen. Can you make your loop last? They can tell you in a split second, yes, I can. I have this pallet, I have this tile, I have this thing I can do. Or no, you guys need to find a different scenario.
And I think it's the same with killers, especially like Blight, where his kit demands that level of just knowing how to do it and knowing what to do, because you can't think fast enough to like plan it out. You just have to be able to do it. And it is, I think I've played Blight once or twice. It is, first of all, it's nauseating, and second of all, it's his power is so hard to master and get used to. Overall, this is an incredible showing from both sides, and it is so clear that they are both ready for this match to be happening.
Absolutely. And I mean, to be fair, S tiers are very common, so we see a lot of teams prep, especially for the S tiers, because they do require the most practice to play around. So what I can say is, I'm not going to claim that I played serious comp when I did play, because it was very much a lower level league compared to, like, you know, COTF and others that are, you know, higher echelon. But I was a Blight main for my team. I played Blight for several hours, like probably maybe 200 back in the day. But I quickly fell out of love with this killer, and it was because it was when they came out, and this killer is one of the most frustrating learning curves when it comes to learning and memorizing collision, because the collision in this game is ever changing. It can change at the drop of a hat. Any Blight main will tell you that it is so frustrating to have to relearn collision, and that's why I stopped playing him. So any Blight that I see play this game to any degree, I am beyond impressed.
And not to mention, even just like the smallest micro movement can cause you to, instead of hitting that bounce, just slide.
Exactly.
And then your trajectory is so wrong, and you have to be able to course correct, and sometimes you just can't. So it's he's one of those killers that, you know, when I come across him in pubs, I'm miserable because I know I'm gonna lose, but at the same time, you can't help kind of be like, wow, I can't believe that you are this good at this killer. And the same thing goes for watching in comp, but to the nth degree. These are the best Blights, some of the best Blights that you'll see. And it is just...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vacuum?
I don't have an end to that sentence.
I thought that was gonna be a vacuum. Is this their first hook? I don't remember.
I think, yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, Survivor's trying, again, you take a hit, you go to center, and they do finish the last generator. Both Survivors were splitting, not just the Claudette, and so now it's a question of, well, no, there's no endgame here. The Blight has to try and force some kind of, oh, and they didn't find the Nancy. Oh, and that's
See, and
what you're
there's that
talking
slide.
about. Yeah.
That's that exact thing where they slide all the way to the corner. Now they're facing the wrong direction. They've got to, you know, wait for that cooldown.
And not to mention now you've also got the deli as well, so Claudette is going to be able to get away. Even more pressure back for these Survivors, and Nancy nowhere to be seen, probably on an exit gate. I think we're going to see a 2 out.
Yeah, I think you have to commit to this Claude, and barring something spectacular from them, I do think that they go down. But you know, this game's been full of surprises. Didn't see a basement coming, but you know.
The Survivor, again, remember what I said, they know where to die? They're forcing this. They know where to die. They said, all right, we'll take the 8-stage 2K.
Absolutely.
That is exactly what they're going for there, and that will be the 8-stage 2K. And on the weird chance that the Blight runs past you and misses, and then suddenly you're without power, you run back up and you have hatch. So
really, really well done.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal gameplay from the Survivors. Blight had a really good start, but again, Survivors just super methodical. Take a hit, go to middle. Take a hit, go to middle. Take a hit, go to middle. And you know, and the Blight knew it too, if he ever left his gens, they're gone. Limerence cracking out their own Blight. And we'll see how Misery handles it. Again, Limerence showing a lot of strength in their previous one with Survivor game, but not discounting Misery here, so have to see how Misery handles it. Again, Misery and Limerence both well known here, and they do find Zarina right off the bat here, taking chase, going back into the main Suffo building. Seeing other scratch marks as well. Like a little bit turnaround there on that collision, and they do get the hit over the top.
Oh,
absolutely
that was
disgusting.
a nice little double back from Zarina, but an excellent reaction from the Blight coming in, predicting that, getting that hit on the backside.
Yeah, that was a really good job there. And again, just that muscle memory prediction here. Zarina go around the edge. This is the muscle. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to say there's not much you can do there. Blight, if they are attuned, can react to whatever you do, and there's just not much Zarina can do. They lasted as long as they could, and now it all comes down to how many gens are firing away. How fast did the Survivors spread out here as we have first hook them in? Worth noting, you were asking about perk bans earlier. Pain Res, we will not see because Pain Res is banned on Nurse, Blight, and Spirit.
As it should be, Rue.
Honestly, fair. Actually, I might be wrong about Spirit. It might not be banned on Spirit, but I'm pretty sure it's banned on all the S tiers because it's just insane. Like, this killer just absolutely shreds through health states of Survivors, and it's really easy to get a Pain Res followed by a pop, and just like, Survivors just can't do gens. It's so oppressive.
Here's the thing that I've been thinking about watching these few matches is that anything that happens before the first hook of the match is critical.
Agreed.
It is so imperative to set yourself up for success, to get multiple gens working, so that you are in a decent place when your first Survivor is on hook and you need someone to go rescue. I think it sets the tone for a lot of the match. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a gen pop yet. I'm a little worried about it. But
it was an early chase. There's not much time to do. I say that like gens take 90 seconds. If you're splitting one person each gen, it's going to take a little while just to get it spread out and from the corrupt. It's going to take about 120 seconds or so.
That's fair.
Worth noting. So this is what I was talking about also with Blast Mine. That was a Pop Goes Weasel. It was a brutal strength. And Blast Mine gave the Survivors the assurance they needed to get the unhook on the Zarina and possibly even set up a for the people if it was required, but they didn't. And Ada coming in for the body block as well. There's the two gens you were talking about, and yeah, it just takes some time. Like Corrupt's a really good perk, okay?
You know, that's fair. And to be honest, watching a Blight match, I think it lulls you into the sense of feeling like maybe things are going a lot faster than you think when you're only watching from the Blight perspective and everything is just going nyum.
True. Things
Technical
do feel
term.
fast. Let me first hook coming in for the Fang Min here. Surprised they're not going for the tunnel outs, especially on Zarina. I guess maybe, you know, accepting that Zarina was going to be the person that had to, you know, they let go. But now I think with Serena unhooked, I imagine, unless it wasn't able to rotate over, or Serena was the deli, like, I think they've got deli in pocket here, another pop goes in. I think the survivors are in an okay position. The killer isn't tunneling someone out of the game, and I really don't know how that's going to work out for them.
I agree, and at this point, I used to be very critical about comp and they're tunneling people out. That feels bad, but honestly, this is so different from regular matches that it feels like a mistake for killers not to tunnel somebody out at some point. And getting that pallet slap being denied twice. This Nancy knows exactly what she's doing. She is doing her job. She is stalling and buying as much time for her team as she can, but ultimately taking a hit inside main building.
Yeah, they didn't quite line up the firecracker play like they were hoping for, and so they won't be able to get the distance and the maybe, you know, elude the killer for a little bit longer. But Ada coming in here, ready for the bottom back. Oh my goodness, that was such a heads-up play on Nancy's part to go in. That was tough. That was well done. And she gets distance here too.
Yeah, these survivors are definitely playing incredibly smart, incredibly methodical. They know what they're doing, and shame on me for ever having doubted them at the beginning of this match. Hashtag shame on T.
Shame on T. I like that. With that said, I going back to what you're saying about tunneling, it is an entirely different game. Like, sure, in pubs, you don't have a lot of coordination to get a survivor unhooked well. You don't have a coordination for getting them out of, like, safety trouble. And also, in pubs, I'm not gonna, like, no shade to anybody that prefers pubs over comp. Pub survivors are virtually helpless when it comes to tunneling. Like, unless you're a good chaser, which, I'm sorry, I'm not impressed with most of your guys' tunneling as a killer main. I'm not impressed, y'all. Gotta step up your game. Those rookie numbers. But yeah, none of these survivors in comp are bad. None of these survivors are rookies. None of these survivors are helpless. If the killer thinks otherwise, the killer's gonna have broken ankles, broken shins, broken calves, broken every bone in their leg.
And I personally have great faith in pub survivors, and I am starting the hashtag shame on Rue. Hashtag shame on Rue.
I hate it here. That is second hook coming in for the others, or for the Feng here. It looks like there might be a hook trade coming in. No, Serena coming in for the unhook. Third gen firing as well. I've never seen a similar scenario where how do the gens break this 3-gen? And I don't know how they're going to do it.
You know, I think it's going to be... I don't know. You know? I don't know either, Rue. I have nothing valuable to add. I don't know.
Oh, and they find the reset too. Unless survivors are really careful, that could be lights out. There's the Nancy, though. They get the hit on the Nancy here. Leaving them slugged out. No, they're not. We haven't seen Deli yet. It would be really unfortunate for the Survivor Squad if the Zarina was the Deli player. Otherwise, I think it has to be the Nancy here. And if Nancy has Deli, survivors are in a better spot, but they didn't get the reset off. And they really needed that reset.
Agreed. You gotta keep... Oh! And
No
it looks
Deli.
like not Deliverance. Just a good old setup for the survivors.
There is a little bit of progress over on that gen, but they want to make sure to... if they confirm this gets a whole lot harder for survivors. Again, we did see last game they had an early tunnel up, but survivors were able to plow through 2 gens over time. We know this... I will say that the if you notice, the middle layout is a lot worse here, in my opinion, for the survivors. I'm actually... Chat, I would love to hear your discussion on this. The middle layer, or the middle area for a sub pit here, from the looks of it to me, is a lot worse for survivors because there's not a lot of perpendicular structures like windows and such that you want to get into as survivors. It's all parallel, which means the Blight has open lanes to get into the loop, which means you don't have any safety to hold on to. I think this is actually a really nasty setup for survivors.
I agree. I think that this this tile spawn is a bit rougher, for sure. But it looks like they're gonna try and make the most of it. You know, they're still a net positive, right? There's 3 survivors, 2 gens left, and whenever you're at a net positive, you've got an okay shot at things. It's when you get down to, you know, 4 gens, 3 survivors that you really start to struggle. I think they're trying desperately to bring Blight over to the other side of the map, and this Blight is just not buying it. They are protecting this 3-gen as they should be.
That is exactly what he's supposed to do, and ooh, Fang almost taking a hit there, but they're gonna get some distance, and Blight is out of power here, so they're gonna have to wait for their tokens to get back up. They will kick this gen and move along. It is worth noting, as the survivors have worked on enough gens, the 4th perk in this killer's arsenal is in fact Overcharge. So when you sit on a gen like this killer's doing, you're gonna be regressing a whole lot faster, and so these survivors need to figure out how they're gonna break this.
Honestly, I don't know that they can do more than what they are doing, which is take chase, try to get him out, and just work like micro bits on these gens as best they can. We could be in for a bit of a long ending here, and sometimes the longer things draw out, the more in favor of the killer it can be.
Yeah,
I think
more resources.
They've got to try. Yeah, they've got to try and get things done quicker so that they don't lose, you know, every pallet. That was a nice reverse stun.
Absolutely. Getting leather on the corner too. That was a very laggy hit, but a hit regardless. And Fang going into the center here. They got the long ball. Oh, I think that was a skill check, and it's gonna be 10% off of that generator, unfortunately for the survivors. Ada now in trouble as well, getting rid of the rock just in the nick of time. And this Blight, very curious about this gen. Oh, but it's regressing, which with Overcharge is fully full speed regressing here. They do finish the 4th gen. That is smart. Once you realize that the 99 gen isn't going to work, just go ahead and pop it, make sure it's gone, and just focus on the 3 gen. Both sides know what the win condition here is. They know what they need to do. Survivors can only give 2 more hook stages.
And I do think, actually, watching this more now, everything you're saying about this center section of the map is it's dirty for these survivors, because every time they're trying to get into a tile, they've got to swing wide, they've got to take a window. It puts them in a really vulnerable position, and Blight can just ping pong in and out so fast.
Yep.
I think that this is really impacting how they are able to play this, especially how quickly they're able to get in here and pull them off the gens and keep them busy, you know?
Yeah, and unfortunately, with that skill check we saw in the distance there from the Overcharge, yeah, this gen does not have a lot of progress at all, and they're just going to go ahead and kick it, make sure to apply that Overcharge skill check again, and now you're in trouble.
And again, sometimes these matches, they start out really favoring one side, and then you get towards the end, fewer resources, tighter 3 gen, and it's just what do you do at this point, you know? Everyone knows what's happening.
Good decisive. That's gonna help. Have to see what they're able to do with this distance, and they did not. Dead
hard. Wow, really calculated. I thought surely they had just run to a dead zone and they were going down, but they knew exactly what they were doing. And they put themselves back down at Shack, which Blight is clearly not going to take chase down there right now. They've got to stick on these gens.
Yep, and Blight knew that too. It's like, I can't let that chase go on for too much longer. And survivors will reset here, but Ada gets away. And that gen not been worked on, and the hill gen, a little bit of progress though. However, again, Overcharge going to do some quick work on these generators if they are left to their own devices. Looking around for the survivors, see if they're going to, hide out in the back. I imagine, yeah, we're going to see some resets coming in, and survivors will try and take another approach to this 3-gen scenario. And again, for most killers, this wouldn't be a 3-gen, but Blight with their mobility, it is definitely a 3-gen. Worth noting is that we don't see the other survivor killer looking very keenly, trying to see if they're stealthing out, but not seeing too much. This gen regressing fully with Overcharge now. Servers have reset, and have to see how it goes here. It's a little item stash there.
Just refusing to take chase down at Shack, and I think at this point it would be easy to get frustrated and just want to take that chase, but literally the Blight cannot afford to do this. They have to stay down here. They've got to protect this 3-gen.
Yep. Absolutely. And they do take a hit. Ooh, another, again, failed skill check on that center gen is going to cost 10%. Blight looks like they're going to commit to this. Here comes the Blight Rush. I don't think they get to the jumping in the locker, trying to bait it out. Are they going to force the pick? They are content to force the pick here. Are they going to be able to finish the gens?
maybe
Not
they've
that
got
one.
something closer than we realized.
Don't know, but now the problem is here comes Pop Goes the Weasel, overcharge coming in as well.
I wonder, yeah, if they've got more progress on one of these gens than we thought, and they're trying to just keep him in place for any amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Worth noting too is, now that I'm thinking about it, Nancy's been hooked, right? So it's just 2 survivors. Yeah, I think this is gonna be, I think you hook here and you win? I'm not really sure. They don't want this gen to finish though.
You know, with Blight's mobility, I think it's worth taking a trip back down here to check in on things. You're not going to lose that much time by doing it, and you know, at the risk of losing your last gen, I think it's worth the little sightseeing trip. You know.
I would agree. Yeah, looking around these edges, trying to see if there's anybody stealthing out over here. That's the other scenario too, I guess, is that I think as long as the survivor dies, that's the win con. They might be trying to set up for some kind of hatch play here, but even with hatch, I don't think it's enough to bring back the points. I think it was an 8-stage 2K with, and you've already got 8 stages and a 2K here. This should be enough to solidify it. Yeah, that was second hook for them, so that should be enough there.
And even with trying to set up a hatch play, setting up a hatch play against Blight when you both know where the hatch is going to be, you can get from one end of the map to the other in the blink of an eye, and it feels an impossible ask.
It really is, and yeah, it looks like even the exit gates are horrible for the survivors here. I mean, even if it wasn't, you know, Blight, like this would be manageable for most killers.
They honestly, the survivors played this match incredibly strongly, and I think they were let down a lot by this map spawn. The way the exit gates are set up, the way the tiles are in the middle, it is incredibly unfortunate that after a period of time, once the resources that were kind of out in the open were used, getting into those tiles is so difficult that, you know, it's unfortunate.
I would agree.
They played really well, but some things you can't control, only the entity can.
I would absolutely agree. And worth noting, Nancy in a position where they could make it to the hatch, but yeah, this Blight's going to be able to cut them off here. And that will be, I believe, the 4K, unless there's something crazy here. Yeah, I think it's going to be the 4K. I don't see, even with Adrenaline, you don't get these exit gates.
No shot. No shot. Especially with I mean, there's no one else here to help draw attention, you know. We'll see if Nancy can put on a good show.
Yeah, not much you can do. Yeah, resources down. And that will be the 4K at 1 gen remaining. Really strong score coming in here for Limerence, as they will take set number 1, and we're moving into set number 2 very shortly here with Limerence. We'll be coming back on Killer. And I actually have not seen the next set yet. I'll have to take a little peek, see if I can check and see what that is. But regardless, really, really well played to this Blight. And Survivors almost eking it out there at the end. Very, very close.
Yeah, it was well played on both parts, I think. I haven't played on it in a year, so honestly, not yet.
You should.
But I'm sure
there's been a lot of reworks. Gas Heaven got changed up. Blood Lodge is different now.
Oh, wait, no. Then Auto Haven is back, because I played on Gas Heaven last night.
Oh, did they turn it? Did they fix it in the patch? Okay. They
did, because I had a match there, and the big long wall of cars is gone, which is upsetting for survivors, but really good for trickster mains.
It's arguably less painful. The map now has a bunch of clutter, which makes honestly it really difficult in general. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Blood Lodge feels a lot less awful, but Gas Heaven feels honestly like one of the best maps for survivors now. It's really good.
Coming in with a quick hit on the Nancy and heading off. Looks like they're going to be bypassing picking up their red goo. And instead they're going to focus all of their attentions on this arena, trying to get that maximum infection as quick as they can. But taking a stun from that pallet. Heading right over to Shaq.
Let us say, yeah, not quite able. Survivor able to move back and forth, getting the moves, not getting fully infected. Smart for the Survivor. It's the bane of a lot of killers. Just, you know, wiggle back and forth. just slam the A and D key over and over and over again. It works for some reason. Oh
Look,
no, Nancy's
PC Wiggle is satisfying. Okay. Even if it
It'd
does
be
slow
more
you down.
satisfying if the wiggle like looked more realistic instead of just like the survivor's hitbox doing, you know, stutter steps. But I have
picked up
killer opinions.
Picked up some of that violent gooey goo, and we are heading out on the prowl, looking for anyone over here. They hadn't seen anybody on the other side of the map, so there's a good chance that someone's over here cranking away on a gen.
There is. They found the Ada over here stealthing out, not quite able to stealth out for long. However, Sprintburst going to get not enough distance, and now Ada in a horrible spot. Not able to get the distance they need. They have the pallet here, but she's going to go down.
That was a really nice dodge there a second ago, but unfortunately, they just kind of put themselves in a bad spot. There wasn't much they could do. There wasn't a lot to play around with, and just able to clip them with that violent goo. What's it called again? I can't remember. So I'm just calling it the
Corrupt purge.
violent goo.
Well, okay,
Corrupt
I'm
purge.
glad you're not calling it another, because there's another term that's also been popular that is far more graphic.
Oh, I can
But-
guess now, and I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too, trust me. But that said, so what we did see there was a pain res on the hook, but the pain res wasn't applied to the carnival gen, so there's another gen elsewhere that's very close to popping, and they did apply pop on the current gen.
And that is good information for our killer to have. That means that they need to be patrolling somewhere else soon, or they are going to lose a gen. And at this point, I don't know, do you let it go, or are you trying desperately to stop them all? Where do you put your focus?
You're still at 5 gens. I would say find the Ada and tunnel out, honestly. I would tunnel the Ada out of this game. You may not get as much value from the Scourge Hook spreading out, but you are going to remove a survivor. It becomes 3 gen. At that point, your pain res is just become exponentially more brutal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say tunnel out I would say tunnel out the Ada, but they're not going for that. Instead, chasing after this arena, going back into the carnival. Zarina wasting a lot of time here. I would imagine Bloodless about to kick in.
And there it is, getting that hit on the Zarina. And gosh, I always forget how big this map is. It just feels monstrous.
Really? I've always felt like this map feels small.
Really, as a Survivor player, I feel like this map feels huge. This and Crotus. Crotus? Yes,
Okay,
Crotus.
Crotus friend. Okay, so that's the thing. The Asylum, yes, the starport is large. That is a large map. I think that is considered the higher end of the medium tile size. I think this is lower end medium or high low, if I remember correctly. Oh, but she has an
Interesting.
infection there.
And that gen is coming along quickly.
Survivors have a lot of gen progress that are about to pop a couple different gens if they can find the time for it.
And the thing is, once you get that gen done, you become free to run that main building as much as you want. You know that you've got some pressure because the 3 gen can be a little bit more difficult. So getting that gen done would not be a bad thing for these survivors.
It really wouldn't. It'd be really good for them to get out of the way, and they do get the unhook. We have 1 gen down already. I think at least 2 other gens that are very much on the precipice of firing off. We do
And
see
we've got
Survivor
4
run back
full
in this way.
infections.
Yep, and we are going to be drinking here. Corrupt Purge is online. We have to see if they get use out of it. We see Ada running away from their gen immediately. They are going to be zoned. That was not the gen I expected to fire off there, and that is going to be... Oh, wow, that's 2 gens that have been done. That's not any of the ones that I would imagine. And it's be second hook coming in for Ada, but her Scourge Hook's already been used. I think we're going to see 2 gens here, which leaves 1 left. Unless I'm wrong. Oh, a failed skill check's going to be very costly. I don't think they finish now.
That is really unfortunate.
Yeah, that failed skill check might be costly, as yeah, that Pop Goes Weasel is going to do a number on it at the very least. They might be able to finish Carnival Gen now, but main building Gen after that Pop Goes the Weasel, it might be a while before we see that pop. Again, this Gen over here being the one that popped, that went straight through that Survivor. That was very interesting. Going straight for the pickup too, not bothering to go for the tunnel. And Anita, this kill is very content not to go for a tunnel, which is interesting to me.
Honestly, I think they feel like they're in a pretty good spot, and maybe their time is better spent you know, spreading out and trying to keep more gens from going, which I can understand. It does feel like they're in a pretty decent spot right now.
Look at that gen.
You know,
This gen was almost done twice over, and between Pain Res and Pop.
just absolutely brutal. I would be tearing my hair out.
That's so unfortunate. Again, Pain Res, I appreciate what it was, but I think the new Pain Res is just arguably better. For 4 hooks, you get a full gen worth of progression. Yes, it's spread out among first hook survivors, but I still feel like that's really good.
That is bananas.
Mm-hmm.
You can get so much value out of it, and it looks like she's picking up on the Nancy over here. Was that the Nancy or the Ada?
I do believe that was Nancy. You are correct. And going into the TNL, they do go for the vault. They get it. Not alive to my knowledge. Another failed skill check. I'm telling you guys, it's not overcharged. They're just missing skill checks, unfortunately. And that's going to be very costly. You can't afford to do that in these games. That 10% is 9 seconds on a gen, and in a game of seconds, that adds up really quickly. Like, during the Blight game, I think there were 3 to 4 missed skill checks. Now, granted, that's overcharged. That's tough sometimes, especially with, you know, frame rate dropping. But...
And that's something you don't... I feel like we don't typically see in comp is a lot of just missed skill checks. And, you know, it could just be nerves. It could just be trying to pay attention to too many things at once, but it is going to be costly. I personally don't know what a missed skill check is. I've never had one in my life, and I am in fact not known for this personally on my streaming platform. So.
Oh, and the gen that she led to is also 90%, which is going to be rough with this pop coming in. This killer has gotten max value out of these pops.
Absolutely, but I am glad to see that there are multiple gens working with good progress, because even if they do keep getting oh, never mind, this is all bad news right here.
Yeah, this is not where they wanted to be caught out here, and this is going to be very difficult to get away from. They do get this pallet. Worth noting is that Killer doesn't have any more pools until a cleanse occurs, and I think the survivors are going to try and pull it out without cleansing. Have to see
and at
if
the comp
it pays
level,
off.
that's incredibly doable. Oh, but it looks like they just kind of keep running into each other.
Well, there's not many avenues to run when the killer holds the side. There's no. Usually there's a filler pallet here, and there's not, which isn't the end of the world. But yeah, both sides end up being a bit of a dead zone with no major tile between them again. But yeah, another pop coming in on the generator. One server finally down, sent back to the campfire. And yeah, we have a lot of different gens being worked on at any given time, and at this point, I might go to Shack side and cleanse 1 or 2 survivors just to try and get some survivability going, but...
I agree. This is a scary position for them to be in, because nobody is healed, which means nobody can afford to take hits. Nobody can body block for each other. They have to play so spread out, which typically is going to be a good thing, but in a comp setting, sometimes a body block is the difference between, you know, like winning the game and losing.
So the one thing here is that so to cleanse, you have to give them their power. There's one gen down. You can't body block Plague. Her puke will injure the survivor, lose collision, and then go to the survivor in front of them.
What?
Yeah, Plague's power just goes through survivors. That's like the reason it's so nasty on unhooks is when the survivor goes for the unhook, the survivor on the hook doesn't have collision, so you can stop the unhook from happening. In fact, Plague's power hitbox is one of the weirdest ones in the game of Dead by Daylight. They're the only killer because so you charge up to full puke. Yeah, there you go. We see the cleanse on the Shack side. So you cleanse up to full puke. You have the full, like you don't just like hold a little and then spit a little. You hold the full corrupt. You have the full corrupt in place. You hit the survivor in front of you. They get the speed boost. Their iframes and speed boost end. Her puke will not collide with them again, even after the iframes cease. And that's intentional, by the way. They intended it to be that way. But the side effect is also, as soon as you get hit by the puke, anybody behind you gets hit. Anybody on the hook gets hit. It's a really weird hitbox, okay?
Oh.
Yeah. Fun.
Well.
This kill is insane. Good
Yeah.
Good hiding there. Not to mention, her power I would consider on par with Oni for being one of the most lethal powers in the game. Like, what do you do against this? What do you do? You run, you die.
Entire life. I have never played a Plague match correctly ever, and I want to cry about it. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, fair.
Okay.
But with that said, okay, so worth noting, Fang has not been hooked yet. They are fresh. The survivor is on... Wait, what is Plague doing? They need to go to the shack now. This survivor dies on hook and they get hatch. Why did they stop to... Maybe that wasn't the play? Maybe the killer realized the survivor wasn't killing himself? I would have immediately gone back to shack, because... Okay, I think survivors might have missed an opportunity there. I really think that...
I agree.
When she did not head immediately back for the shack, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, because getting a fresh survivor out as opposed to getting a fresh survivor dead on hook, that is a massive difference in points, and points matter here.
But survivors were doing what they were doing, and they got the unhook. So it worked out for both sides, because apparently the survivors weren't planning on going for hatch, and the killer was like, let's go to hatch because I just realized that that's an option, and the survivors went in unhooked instead. So it all works out in the wash. That was an interesting series of plays that I was not expecting to occur.
You know, maybe, Rue, as it happens, sometimes survivors big brain things that you and I don't think about. And maybe that's what's gonna happen here.
Maybe, but now, same scenario. In fact, now you've got a really bad scenario. Because they're doing the tech. So she's in the corner, she's gonna start bleeding out. They're not gonna pick that survivor up until they are nearly dead. And then that survivor is gonna be able to do gens until their heart's content. And now looking around, because you know the survivor needs to be in this area. They need to hide in this area so they can get the pickup. And there's a lot of plays here on the survivor side, honestly. We'll have to see if the killer's able to handle and identify what's going on. If they're able to find the Fang or not.
And we do see Plague spewing her vomit all over, trying to potentially get some information here in terms of, you know, putting it on lockers, putting it on windows, putting it on gens, just trying to get a feel for maybe where this other survivor is, but I don't know if she's gonna find them.
The lockers are a really smart idea, because survivors really do hide, like, you see killers check lockers, are like, that's weird, because, you know, killers in pubs don't generally check lockers unless they have a really good reason to. These killers play on teams, and these teams hide in lockers a heck of a lot more than people think. It's actually really dang common. And then also adding the Vile Purge on top of them means that survivors can't also get into them later on for hiding. So not only do you keep them in there until it ends for information, but they also can't jump in it either, so... Yeah, just, again, heads up plays all the way around from this plague, but... Yeah, they keep checking lockers, like, what are you have nothing else to do.
We could be in for a little bit of a long ending here, friends.
Well, luckily, it shouldn't be longer than okay, it could be a little bit longer than 2 minutes, because we are about to see Zarina bleed out here. And, again, we will probably see the survivor try to meet... so it comes down to this, too. Do you try to meet up for the 99 on the heel? The Fang scared a crow and got caught.
No! No shot.
Yeah, they were trying to make their way back to this, and it just wasn't able to. Now you've got a whole bunch of problems on your plate. Zarina can't die soon enough, but also you need to make your way back. Do you go for the hat? Like, not where you want to be. Slow vaulting, maybe trying to hold on to the live. I don't know, folks. This is going to be really difficult. She needs to loop for another minute 15 or so. She'll use every pallet at her disposal. But as long as she's zoned away, the killer does not care. The question is, can you get this? Can Zarina meet you up and get 99 for a pickup? And then it goes all over again. But I don't think she gets the distance.
We say it time and time again, but that's the thing. It's a matter of inches. And that one crow flying up, alerting her to her position for just a second.
Yep.
that's going to be it. That's going to be the thing that does it in the end. Now, you can say there were different things they could have done all along the way, but we are talking specifically about this moment in the end game.
Yeah.
That is what is going to tank this for these survivors, and that is, it's brutal.
They might have, like, that's the thing. We without the crow, Feng was visible, but you really wouldn't pay attention if it wasn't for that crow. Like, they might have glanced away. But yeah, that crow sealed the deal there, and unfortunately, as this is not an S tier, Delhi is not allowed against Plague, and that will be the 4K at 1 gen remaining. They were really close, but my goodness. The Pain Rest did a little bit, I'm not going to say it didn't, but the Pop Goes the Weasel just absolutely brutalized these gens. Pop got so much value. Is Pop too strong? Is 30% Pop too strong? That is the question.
I don't know, but it certainly gave the killer enough time to make the plays they needed to make and stall the survivors out as long as they could. And I am glad that my health is now in a place where I am able to do it again.
I am too. I am very glad that you've come back. I was worried about you for a little bit there.
Aw, you
Look at
guys,
the
he does
crust.
have a heart.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I don't need this, but yeah. Look at this corrupt. That's a very, very split corrupt. They do find an ace here. Using the sprint burst, they won't be infected there. They will get a little bit of distance, and going around, they didn't choose long sides. This will be an infection here. It looks like they're going to be going for the full infection. They don't want the... Oh, never mind. They will take the M1 at the window and let Ace be on their merry way. Ooh.
Sometimes you've got to take the M1 when it's presented to you in such a vulnerable way.
I was really surprised at that. We saw Bamboozle earlier on Plague, so I'm kind of interested to see what this what we see here from Misery. As again, Jukebox has been on the cast as well. I know that they are a really big fan of Plague, so let's see how they play here. There's the vault. We already know Sprint Burst has been used, so this will be the down.
Oh,
I saw
so
what you did there,
close.
Fang.
Fang, that was such a good try, but not quite quick enough, and managing to just get that first down and coming up on our first hook of the second part of this game.
Indeed, and it looks like with that agitation, as you can tell that Killer's booking it, that is going to be a pain res in the back here. And honestly, that might be one of the most heads-up plays and builds ready. Look at this monstrous 3-gen they have back here.
I have a prediction that this match could go quicker than the last, because it feels like with the build that they are running, they are coming to play, and it is going to be about speed and getting things done. Of course, we don't know what the rest of the build is, but I think they're going to motor through this as quick as they can.
They're immediately going to drink up too with about 20 seconds off the... Actually, about be 30 seconds left. So this killer with the Devotee's Amulet is going to have 30 seconds after the Survivor goes to the second stage, making sure nobody comes over to this gen to make sure it fully regresses, as that would be the situation where you're worried. Because Survivor comes in, tries to cat and mouse this unhook, and then, you know, somebody else working on the other generator. There's one gen down for Survivors. I think second stage is about to come in here. Killer wants to sit on the fact. Oh, they could have had it there, I think.
I think they could have as well.
However, that
Coming
means
in on this Fang.
This is one less Survivor on a gen, though.
If they get this down quickly, this is going to be huge for the Plague.
Oh, and that hit
And
Ace
there
despite
it
the
is.
crouch.
Oh, my
There's the
word.
unhook on the Ace. There's the spread. There's a hit on Claudette as well. Ace running away. We're using Sprint Burst to get distance.
And
Counting
this is
down the
moving.
seconds. Do they get to a pallet? Do they get to anything? Is there anything here for the Survivor? This was... No, it wasn't pre-dropped. Killer still has power. That's going to be a down. That's going to be a tunnel out.
They get this.
That's going to be a very
this-
early kill.
This has progressed fast, and this is about to be the nightmare scenario for survivors. We're about to have 4 gens left, 3 survivors left, 4 gens left, or 3 now, 3 and 3, but 2 injured.
Mm-hmm.
A
They
bunch
get
of
the reset.
regression on that gen on the end. This is going to be a
They
tough
found the
comeback.
reset point too. They can infect that beautiful little arc there, but not hitting anybody, unfortunately, for this killer. And now chasing the Claudette. If you can get this Claudette down with Agi, taking them back into the carnival, and same thing, wash, rinse, repeat, and there's not much left for this Survivor to do. Here comes.
This
Do they
killer-
drink? Do they drink? No, they're
They
not.
came into this, they know what they need to do, and they said, by gum, I'm getting it done, and y'all aren't gonna stop me. They are motoring.
Look at that beautiful mind game there from the Hook, hiding their red stain perfectly. And that question is, can the survivors break the 3-gen? Are they back in the carnival right now? Will they opt to take a closer pain res, or will they take them all the way back? They're going to take them all the way back.
Wow, 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 wow.
Survivors, if they are a heads up here, will be on one of these carnival gens, banging it away. It's a pain res.
They are... Oof. Oh, this is
I'm surprised
trouble.
you don't infect the survivor right off the bat here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it.
This is a scary, scary scenario to be in.
Oh, and you see the survivor crouching away. They might be able to pull off the W here to force a set number 3. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, they are not. They're not taking any chances. They are. I would be. I'm scared. I'm not playing the match, but I'm a little frightened of this plague.
We see a survivor actually crouching over here. I don't know if the killers saw it. Maybe.
I bet they
That's
did.
another scourge hook, though.
Oh?
Oh, or they're faking it. Oh no, the survivor ran. They didn't stick around. That's smart on the survivor's part.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to break this 3-gen down here. And I just don't know how they do it at this point, especially with the hook back in Carnival. Clearly, there are other survivors around here. What do you do at this point? What if you were playing Survivor right now, Rue? What do you do?
As Survivor, that's tough. That's really tough. This killer has absolutely no reason to come back to this gen. I would go and finish the Shack gen, make sure that that's taken care of. I would go finish your other 2 gens. This server needs to sit for a bit. No, they're coming back for it. That's going to be the hit. No iframe hit, though. Double back on. Oh, but the top of the circus tent.
So close to getting that Adam.
But I'm surprised, again, no tunnel out here. Instead, going for this. I'm actually kind of curious because the killer can't afford it too much. And I think that's what's going on, why we're not seeing as much tunnel out here, is as a killer, if they do 2 more gens, that's the tie scenario. This is so tough. Because you really can't afford to sit back here and, you know, let this hang out either. You have to kind of go back and forth. But I say, there's the infection on the Atom.
Golly.
Both servers are injured, though.
Do you try to reset? I don't know. Is it your time better spent on gens?
It seems like they are going to go for the reset here. Because here's the thing. Survivors are potentially looking at here not only not getting the tie scenario, but they're going to lose the set, which makes the 3rd set so much worse for them. Whereas if they can just hold the tie scenario, then if it's 2 tie rounds and you won a set, obviously you're going to be in a good spot. But if you win a set 1 but lose set 2, that's full tie. Then it's whoever made the best demo win.
And we see the plague opting not to continue chase on that Claude, but to come back to hook. I think that's the smarter play, honestly. Just defending these gens. You know, the survivors are coming over here. Why would you leave?
Agreed. They kind of have to. They've got all the pressure in the world. There's the hit. Lithe not quite able to make the distance there, and that's going to be 2nd hook coming in for the Atom, unless a Deliverance. I was about to say, you wouldn't have used... or not Deliverance, a Decisive. You must say, you wouldn't use your Lithe there if you know you're going down. You'd wait for Decisive, then use your Lithe to get distance, so no Decisive there. They do finish a 4th generator... I'm sorry, 3rd generator there. And that's the thing. The killer wants to not... They don't want the tie scenario. They want the win here, so they can't afford to camp this out. I'm now realizing that's why they were going for these other hooks, not for the tunnel out. You need the spare hooks on the other survivors to guarantee the pain res maximum value.
Absolutely, and they play to win. They are just on top of it. They are not letting these survivors get away with anything. This is a masterclass in just figuring out your tactic and sticking to it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what they can do. Cheeky pallet slap and blind from the Atom.
Claudette is going to be on that generator, so that is what we need to look out for, is seeing that 4th generator finish. This Atom is just chasing for as long as he can, force the tie condition, even if it's a 4K at 1-up. Yeah, there's the down. Will they have time to finish the gen? Fang's on that gen, though, which makes me wonder, where's the Claudette? What gen are they on? They have to be on Shack's side, right? That has to be 6 o'clock.
It has to be on something on the other side of the map.
Yeah, here's Death Hook. Check that gen, and then you go back and check the other one. At least, at the very least, I would expect this gen to be 99. At the very least.
See Feng is fully infected. She is broken, and Claudette is injured. 2 and 2. It's not impossible, but with a 3 gen like the one the Plague has set up over here, I think this is really hard.
Yep, there's the tie condition. Tie condition has been met. The other thing, too, is that we were talking about endgame scenarios. If they manage to find a way to sneak a survivor out the hatch for some reason, that is also a scenario. And yeah, we're going to see the slug for the 4K. However, these survivors are both 2 stages each. If they can force the bleed out on Fang, but they find the Claudette almost
there
immediately.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was about to say, you can technically deny a couple points, but...
This has just been unreal. They came in guns blazing. They said, there is nothing you can do to stop me. I am here, and I am going to win. I'm going to show you how it's done, and stick around for the ride. And they have just done that to the T. They protected their 3 gen. They got multiple hooks. I mean, I don't know what else they could have done more, and I don't know how the survivors could have played around this.
Not with the 3 gen and Carnival being that ridiculous. That was an obscenely strong 3 gen in the Carnival section, so... Wait. Was that parental guidance and Dance With Me?
Where are they? Where'd they go?
We hear over here. I'm gonna say that's Dance With Me, parental guidance, or not Dance With Me, parental guidance and Smash It.
And there we see exactly what you were saying in the locker, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and that will be second hook for the Claudette. Unless something freaky happens here and the Zarina's... Like, here's the thing. Zarina is... is it Zarina? I think
Fang.
it is. Is going to... Oh, Fang?
No, it's the Fang.
Fang is going to bleed out in 2 minutes. Fang makes, I'm about to say, she makes a lot more noise now that she's infected. So yeah, I'm about to say, if she bleeds out, that's also a losing scenario because that's 1 point denied to the killer because the second stage is not worth 2 points, it's worth 1. So, regardless, that will be the 4K. And unless I am told otherwise, I do believe that because this was a tie, we will see set number 3 because it has to be a 2-1 to stop.
I am so excited for this tie. I cannot wait to see this.
Because it's hot outside, and don't get me wrong, it's hot and it's miserable inside this room, but I was saying it before, I treat every demo game like it could be the last.
Everyone loves Demo Puppy, and it would be very sad to no longer see the goodest boy in comp.
I would tend to agree, and finding survivors almost immediately, not waiting at this pallet, just running back into the main building. As we know, it is super safe, and yeah, all survivors able to get into the safety of the main building away from this demo's first chase, and pre-dropping pallets, not wanting to take any chances here. Running into the side. No doors broken just yet.
And I'm just looking, and it looks like we've got double shred cooldown add-ons on, so...
Yep.
We're going to be looking to get some shreds rather fast and furiously here. Little bit of a miss there and bopping the pallet and opting to go for a different survivor.
Part of me wishes that the demo could just have like 0 cooldown on missed shots, and so it's just like bumper demo.
Oh, that would be hilarious, actually.
It would be insanely strong, but hilarious, because then it's like Blight for distance, except it's demo charging. I don't know. Actually, that'd be great, but we probably will never see that because, you know...
His behavior hates anything fun.
Well, they just don't have the license, so... If they don't have the license, they can't, but... Oh, bamboozle on that window back there, though, so... He's going to be a little bit of trouble here. See how they handle this, and they will go around the side. Oh! That was a nice shred.
And a first down, gonna have a first hook. We did hear, though, on the other side of the map that there was at least 1 or 2 gens with some good progress. This one is at 4 pistons pumping. These survivors are moving quickly, and they are not wasting any time.
No, they are not, and they do finish the gen before the pain res kicks in, as we do see the damage generator notification. And worth also noting, that Nancy's broken with the Forced Penance. So resetting is going to be a little bit more difficult here. And worth noting, earlier demo game we saw today was unfortunate. They kind of broke the demo's heart. They got some flashlight saves, kind of made the chase go really long. So this demo not having the same problem. However, getting it through the pallet, and that Jin is also firing off. Demo actually has a lot of worries here. There's 2 other gens that are looking to go in just a bit here. However, now that Nancy's broken, Adam's injured, this survivor goes to second stage, I think.
Yeah, it does feel like the demo is in a position where they are going to have a lot of work to do, but they are going to protect this hook and at least get this survivor to second stage, which should put a little more pressure on the other survivors, especially knowing that body blocking is going to be an issue with this match with the forced penance. And we do see our second gen go. This is looking like it could be a tough match for our killer here.
Absolutely could, and they do finish second gen, chasing Adam into... I am very surprised that didn't hit. I'm pretty sure the demo was also like, excuse me?
Huh? Yeah, even... Look, I'm a tried and true survivor main, but even I think that should have hit.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate for the demo. Is this going to be a pain res? It is. That's going to be super big for slowing that generator down. They do get the unhook on the ace. Now the question is, can they tunnel the ace out of the game, or will they be able to get a reset? They've hidden the ace somewhere. Might even say they have a pocket ace.
Maybe they have an ace up their sleeve.
All right, I'm glad you didn't go for ace in the hole because Taco already made that joke today, and I have to ban him now.
I have nothing but inappropriate jokes to make, and I will not make them. I will keep them to myself.
With that said, yeah, they do finish the third gen. Not the one that we were expecting. Adam running
these survivors, they're just cranking through the gens, and they're wasting no time here.
Absolutely. Doing a really good job. Long wall here. Looking to go back to that gen. We're about to see the 4th generator finish. Hitting through the pallet there. Absolutely disgusting.
And worth noting that the Ace and Nancy are both completely healed up.
True, they reset. Good call there, yeah.
There's another gen here that is almost done. This is brutal. And that wasn't, it wasn't even pain res. That wasn't a hook.
Right,
so
that was second hook for that survivor, yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one, I think. I'm not sure what to do in this scenario.
The demo's actually in a really good spot here. So no other gens are being worked on besides this one. This one's about to fire, but they've got a hook right next to it, which means they can both guard the hook and the gen. And this one's regressing the whole time. So they might be able to finish another generator, but this one's like, I don't know. Oh, that was a great job making sure this is gonna be a hook trade.
Absolutely. That I was not sure they were gonna hit that, but they hit it beautifully.
And it's pain res.
You see a nice trade. They'll continue to be able to monitor this gen. That was a pain res, so that's even more regression. This has actually turned out to be incredibly helpful, as you said.
Yeah, that's 3 extra coins for the killer there. You get an extra pain res. I personally would not have gone for that unhook, but we'll have to see how it plays out for the survivors here as Adam needs to get a reset as they are death hook. Ace still at the coal tower gen. They had the coal tower gen ready. That was what they were doing. Okay.
These survivors are playing very smart. They are taking no chances. They were spreading out their manpower. They were just biding their time.
Now you got a problem. Adam is dead. Bamboozle is on that gen, or that window. Unless there's an adrenaline, which we're not going to see. This survivor's going to die. They might be able to get something like an 8, maybe even 9 stage 2K here potentially. That's renewal on the Claudette. What was that on the screen? That was weird. Trying to see what gen looks like. Yeah, the Shack is going to pop here, and they will pop it before the end game. Renewal will be coming on the Claudette soon. Which survivor have they not hooked?
The Nancy? Because they've hooked Claude and they've hooked Ace, so it's got to be the Nancy.
Yeah, it has to be Nancy. Good point. Also, wait, no, that wasn't. That was Force Penance on the. Oh, I forgot about Force Penance on the Claude from the unhook. I guess, yeah. In that case, you want to take chase with this survivor because you probably won't get the stages from Nancy, but you will get them from Claude. One's a release fresh, but that is gonna be an 8 stage 2K with 1 fresh survivor leaving, I think.
that was an interesting match. That felt
Absolutely.
that felt kind of evenly matched. It kind of went back and forth a couple of times. That was not as clean and obvious a sweep on either side as we were anticipating, maybe. But that means that both teams were playing really well, you know?
Absolutely. Really, really well done. And yeah, I do believe that will be a fresh escape on the Nancy. Lots of points there for the survivors, but Demo also following up with a really strong score themselves. These matches for you, the viewer, and for these amazing teams come out here to battle it out one last time. And we have the final in a Demo mirror. Love to see it. Will note, because the second set was a tie, and this is essentially Misery not only has to win this, Misery has to win this, and I would say a handed, decisive fashion. The win condition is 3 hook stages, and it's not even... it's if they got 3 separate hook stages, that's more than enough to take the win for Limerence. Misery has to essentially give a survivor to the killer and let that survivor die. We're going to see body blocks. We're going to see them absolutely blood, sweat, and tears to keep survivors up with them.
That's a hard place to be in when you know that essentially the way to win is to just let somebody die on hook. That feels bad.
I mean, honestly, yeah, and nothing against the previous demo. The demo did great. If they could have managed to get the Nancy for that extra little bit, they could have got something. Also, that is a very quickly progressed jet. That is a lot of progress on that generator already. 3 pistons firing, maybe 2, maybe even 3 survivors over here initially on it, and they will get an early chase here with the Fang. The question is, can this Fang make this chase last long enough? Can there maybe a body block rotation, something safe here?
Honestly, I think that's what you've got to do in this scenario. I think that you have to maybe not travel in 2s, but you need to be hyper aware of where your fellow survivors are, because you've got to come in for the body blocks. This can be over fast if the survivors let it.
Yeah, there's the body block coming in from the Ada. The survivor managing to afford 2 whiffs there, but now they're both back here with only the Shack Pallet left. There's 1 gen down. Corrupt just now expiring. Here comes... Oh my goodness, I can't believe they got that. No shot.
The juke!
Nope, here comes
Fang.
Serena's juke. What are you talking about, Kari? I'm sorry, I had to.
You said that this Fang needed to make this chase last, and that is exactly what they have done.
Absolutely, but now we're in a horrible scenario for the survivors here. Not able to get to the edge and balance. There's the reset on the Ada. But now you have 2 survivors. One's going to basement. No pallet coming in for the stun here, and again, we knew what they had to do. They had to do body blocks. They had to play some hyper aggressive survivor. But having 2 separate hooks here. There's the ace though. Maybe trying to hide out, maybe hoping to let the demo walk through and get a pallet stun, but it's not going to work out here. I do not think that ace is going to throw that pallet. Oh, no, but Ace is down here as well. I don't know. This is nightmare scenario here.
This is pretty bad. Oh, hello?
All right, we're gonna live forever. Value. All right. All right. There's something now. Essentially, all of you have to scatter, and the survivor needs to die. Which I don't think the demo's gonna let happen.
This is one of those moments in pubs that just, if you were in pubs, feels awful. Right? There's nothing you can do. Everyone's getting injured. The killer is staying close to Shack. It just feels like it's impossible, and all you want to do is go for your teammate. However, in comps, it is a different game. Sometimes you just have to let people go, and the best thing these survivors can do is get together, regroup, and get back on gens. And we have a gen you can hear. Yep, 4 pistons pumping. We are moving. Good progress there, but I really want to see some resets.
I don't know if you even have time. I think at this point the aggressiveness kicks up to desperation. What can you do? You've got a portal right there. As soon as you go for the unhook, survivor's gonna have to trade. We do see a reset on the Ada, maybe going in for the unhook here soon, but again, I think if this is a fresh hook on a survivor, that's 8 points. That might be enough, but I don't know. I think Demo's sitting pretty here. Okay, so one thing you said earlier, if your pub matches were going like this, if my pub matches were going like this, I have 2 DCs already.
Yeah, no,
There's
that's
that reset, though.
that's honestly that's true.
Yeah, Survivors, like you said, there's the reset. We see Survivor progressing to that stage. Now we're gonna see they might try the same thing, take body blocks 4 days here. And we'll see probably another gen pop soon since it was left early and vacated.
Body blocking, as helpful as it is, sometimes when everyone's just body blocking for each other, like constantly, nothing else is getting done, right?
True.
Gens are getting done. Resets, because you're constantly just trying to reset.
Yep.
And I think it's unfortunate, but I think the previous match they didn't have quite enough to work with for this, and unfortunately it set them up to be in a really difficult starting position.
Absolutely. And again, like going into, and that was a good, oh wow, that was a crazy shred there.
I can't believe that missed.
It's not that like the previous demo played bad, but unfortunately due to the, again, it's the 3rd set, we played 2 sets before this, the total accumulation of points, the victory that Limerence had in set number 1, just too far outweighing the point differences here. It would have been different had the plague set been a win in Misery's favor. That would have been a completely different scenario, because then it's no longer trying to break a tie, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And just to confirm, the win condition has now been met, correct?
Correct.
So,
to my knowledge, this with the point totals that I'm seeing, this will be enough. Even if Misery wins this one, the tie break in the middle that needs to be set goes down to total points across all the sets, which is again why there was a 3 hook stage total here.
Yeah, I think unfortunately there wasn't quite enough in the last match to give the Survivors any comfortable room to work, and that early hook down in the basement, that was really strong. It put the demo in a really, really good position, and now it's just kind of about the cleanup work, you know.
It wasn't just the basement. It was because they had 2 slugs over there. The aggressiveness got a little bit overreaching. The Survivors were both injured behind the shack. You could only use 1 resource effectively. You had to call in another Survivor potentially for a body block. Just not much you could do in those situations, unfortunately. And yeah, we'll see a hook trade here. I would say it's still worth playing out to see if you could, have won the demo set in general.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really tough, especially when you know it. Because here's the thing, if you know that this wasn't the way it had to play, you'd have played this super differently. You would have played very cautious. You would have been using resources aggressively. You would have taken your time on a lot of things. And that's why I do like the set point system, is it does force varying gameplay depending on the scenario that it provides. And that's just it. It provides a variety of scenarios that have to be met. It's like, oh, well, we have a tie condition. We need to play super aggressively. It's like, well, we can afford to take our time. We can make sure we get this many hook stages. We can play a really cautious builder.
And it also feels like it takes into account some of the map variance as well, because, like we saw earlier, sometimes maps impact the gameplay. And when you're going on points, a win looks very different. And so sometimes when the map is really against you, you may have had enough points from the previous round to, have that be kind of okay.
Absolutely. And worth noting is that wasn't forced penance, by the way. That was renewal. The broken status effect was from renewal, and they will go down at the T wall.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Yeah. But second hook coming in for the Ada here. Possibly gonna see maybe a 4th gen here. A little bit of progress there, but again, it has been difficult with the different pain res going off here. And with this shack pile thrown, there's not a lot of resources left on the side of the map. Is this where the first chase was? Again, Survivor's still playing really well despite being a Survivor down.
Since we have a minute, I think it's worth pointing out that chat, Rue, has pointed out that you made a mistake earlier. That you said it was We're Gonna Live Forever, but that We're Gonna Live Forever is banned, and that it had to have been Soul Guard.
Well, that's okay. I'm not a rep. I don't memorize all the perks. I got the point system down. knowing the general bans every single time, especially when we make like changes between seasons, like heaven help me if I remember that on the top of my head. That.
No, I just like when chat gets to sass you.
Okay, well listen here. Oh no, Ada coming around trying to maybe get a cheeky blind, but looks like we're gonna see the 3-man slug here. And that will be the end of this trial. Demo very happy. Demo gonna be eating very good tonight. As we will
Someone
see.
should make sure they feed this puppy extra treats.
Honestly, I don't know. I think the demo got all the treats they need. I think they're very happy.
Yeah, but you can never have too many treats.
I
never
definitely
have too
think
many
you can,
treats.
depending on the treat.
I disagree. And I am my poodle would also hard disagree with that. I'm just saying.
But I say I don't know if your poodle has a gun to your head or anything.
I mean, look. You can't see her on cam right now, so you never know what's happening.
That's true. I was very tempted to switch over and peek, but that said, that will be the 4K at 2 gens remaining. Again, I don't think this is reminiscent of a normal score here for this game. Servers had to play a very, very specific playstyle to try and beat the win condition, and unfortunately just wasn't able to pull it out. So